Hello and welcome back to Nutrient Deficiencies and the Weight Loss Connection. I'm Karen with Eureka Holistic Nutrition. If you've missed part 1 of our free training video series, go back and listen to that on our YouTube channel. Part 2 is all about actual connecting the dots between macronutrients of proteins, carbs, and fats and micronutrients of vitamins and minerals with the impact it has on weight loss resistance. What's the connection there specifically? So let's dive in. In this free video training series, we're talking about these 4 big ideas. In part 1, we hit the top 5 nutrient thieves. Why are we seeing so much nutrient deficiency and what's causing that? And then number 2, in this video series today, we're going to talk about the actual connection between someone becoming weight loss resistant and nutrient deficiencies. And then number 3, the third video, we're going to hit re-nourishing. How do you solve that? What do you do to really replace these nutrient deficiencies to give the body that message of abundance we talked about in video 1 to release the excess weight? And then number 4 is, what does it look like to have the results of that? What does it feel like? What do we see and notice the difference when we re-nourish and we really kickstart our metabolism by actually eating more and moving more? It's a little bit different formula than mainstream weight loss tells us. So let's look today at number 2, core 4 of the big ideas in nutrient deficiencies and what's the exact weight loss connection with each of them. When I first started studying nutrition, I realized how dehydrated I was. I was not getting anywhere near the amount of water, just general intake, that I should be. So I rehydrated really fast, which I do not recommend, and I got super congested. My whole fluids of everything in my body was thrown off. So here's the recommendation for rehydrating or staying hydrated even. Drinking your body weight, half of your body weight in ounces a day, with a max of 100 ounces. So anywhere between 80 and 100 ounces a day is what we should be drinking of water, of pure clean water. And only increasing the amount that you're drinking by maybe 1 to 2 glasses every 2 or 3 days. So if you're at maybe 3 or 4 glasses of water a day, 30, 40 ounces of water a day, and you really need to be at 80 or 90 ounces of water, you're having to double that amount. Don't do that all in one day like I did. Do it over the course of about a week, week and a half, at maybe increasing it, to 5 cups a day for a couple days, 6 cups a day for the next, and slowly work your way up. Another really key piece of rehydrating is adding electrolytes. Even if it's just a simple pinch of sea salt, the colored kind, Himalayan or Celtic, add a pinch of sea salt to your water. Not every glass, not every bottle, but at least half of maybe, what you're drinking, 4 or 5 glasses a day, add a tiny pinch of sea salt. That has your electrolytes. So sea salt has all the trace minerals, and those electrolytes are simply minerals that carry an electric charge when dissolved in water, and they help your cells actually absorb the water and use it. So in video 1, we talked about nutrients, getting the nutrients in, and then we also talked about absorbing them and using them. So when we talk about hydration, we're really wanting to make sure that our cells are hydrated, not just drinking the water. There's so many clients we've worked with that, I'm drinking plenty of water, but I feel like I'm just staying dehydrated. My mouth is dry, I have headaches, I still feel a lot of the symptoms of dehydration. It's because your cells really aren't absorbing the water. So electrolytes are key to that. Another way to get electrolytes are simply getting a sugar, maybe stevia sweetened type electrolyte powder that doesn't have all the coloring in it. It's very natural, flavored, and no sugar, no artificial sweetener type electrolyte powder. Ultima is one of our favorites that we recommend. ULTIMA, Ultima, and it's flavored and it gives your water a little bit of a flavor to it, which is nice for people that struggle with water drinking because it's not as flavorful. And making sure that you're getting that electrolyte in, and then making sure your body is moving. That helps our cells to absorb the water. So hydration is huge in weight loss. What's the connection? Well, there's 3 main connections between being dehydrated and not able to lose weight. Here's the first one. Water is such a key piece in detoxification and making sure we flush out things that shouldn't be in our bodies. And when we lose weight and we start to shrink our fat cells, all the toxins that are stored in the fat cells need to be flushed out and not reabsorbed. So when we're not drinking enough water, a lot of times we just simply reabsorb some things that we're trying to get rid of. So in losing weight and our fat cells are shrinking, we want to make sure that we are drinking enough water so that all the excess hormones and toxins from our food and environment are getting flushed out of our system, and we're able to eliminate on a regular basis, so we see the results and we feel the results of getting all of that out of the system. So water is huge for detox. The second reason water is huge and dehydration is such a key component and limits us from losing weight if we don't have enough of it, is by the simple fact that if we're not drinking water, a lot of times we can interpret thirst for hunger. So we end up eating something sweet or something salty, or we have cravings for food when really we're actually thirsty. So if you ever have a sugar craving or crave something salty and junk food, drink a glass of water first and make sure that you're not just thirsty. If you're just thirsty, then that water will slowly fade, that craving will slowly fade away when you get rehydrated. So drinking a glass of water, at least 8 ounces of water first before you give in to the craving. So don't interpret thirst for hunger a lot of times. And then the third reason, which is a big one, is water is the regulator for all of the metabolic processes. So we're not digesting our food well if we're not hydrated. We're not signaling hormones well if we're not hydrated. We're not using food, creating energy with our mitochondria if we're not hydrated. So all the key kind of root causes for why our bodies aren't functioning properly and we're not releasing the weight all come back down to this foundational hydration, and water regulates all of it. So water is the regulator. We can stay full and cut off bad junk food cravings with water, and we can detoxify our body by drinking enough water. So making sure those 3 things are really being addressed by staying hydrated is so key in losing the weight and really sometimes kickstarting weight loss again when it's been stalled. The second most important nutrient is proteins, and proteins break down into amino acids. If we're not getting enough protein, if we're nutrient deficient in the amino acid category, it's going to definitely stall our weight loss. So water is number 1, but number 2 right behind it is protein, getting enough protein. Amino acids have 2 types. They have one called non-essential, which means that those are the ones that our bodies can make on our own from other substances. So we can make our own amino acids. And then our other group, a category of amino acids, are essential. We can't make those, so we have to eat them. We have to get the amino acids from our food, essential. So most of the time, amino acids and the proteins come in the form of animal foods. You have your pasture-raised chicken, you have wild-caught salmon, you have your grass-fed beef, you have your wild-caught game. And you have eggs, pasture-raised poultry, you have some legumes and beans, especially lentils have a high amount of protein. Nuts and seeds have a little bit of protein. There's some quinoa and some hemp that have some protein, pea protein. There's some plant and animal-based proteins that we can get all these essential amino acids from and make sure we're eating enough. So how does protein affect weight loss? Well, it affects weight loss in 3 main ways. If we're not getting enough protein, you're going to see this stall. Protein is huge in increasing our metabolic rate and making sure we're burning the right food for fuel. Protein increases our metabolic rate because it's a main muscle builder, and the more muscle mass you have, the higher your base metabolic rate is, the more calories you burn, the faster your metabolism. So getting enough protein in, you want to keep you're building your metabolic efficiency. The other piece of that is also protein has a high, what they call thermic effect. It creates a lot of heat to break it down. So the thermal effect of food just means it's a lot more efficient in actually getting those calories burned for the least amount of work. So the thermal effect of proteins is the highest of any of the nutrients, of carbs or fats. And then it also helps to build muscle, which keeps our metabolism revved up. So the number 1 reason proteins are helpful in weight loss is because of the metabolic impact that they have on our metabolism. The second reason amino acids are so important, it's kind of an indirect one, is detoxification. There's 3 phases of detoxification, but again, if detoxification is going to work optimally, it takes amino acids, actually. Amino acids we don't think of eating steak on a detox, but having that good, really abundant pool of amino acids in the body helps us actually clear out toxins. Amino acids come alongside and they escort toxins out of the body along with water. So amino acids have a detox role to play, and that's key for weight loss. And then the third way amino acids can really help in weight loss is that they form the base ingredient to all of our neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are the chemistry of emotion. So if someone has emotional eating problems, they probably are protein deficient. If someone has stress eating, they're probably protein deficient. If they feel like they have cravings for sugar, especially, they're probably protein deficient, because amino acids from proteins form serotonin, form dopamine, form some of these neurotransmitters that give our bodies the signal that, hey, we're happy, hey, we're satisfied, hey, we're not craving some sugar here. So proteins are the satiation ingredient and nutrient that we really need because they help form these neurotransmitters. So that aspect, plus the detoxification support of amino acids, plus the metabolic support of proteins and amino acids, that makes protein one of the main nutrients that we really need to be making sure we get enough of in our diets, and we're not deficient in order to lose the weight that we want. So how much protein do you need? Well, generally it's about 25 to 30% of your total calorie intake. We really help customize this for different clients because everybody's different. Their needs are different depending on their activity level, their age. There's a lot of different factors that go into how much protein you need. A lot of times depends on how deficient their lab tests show as well. So there's a little bit of a range, but if you had a goal of maybe 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal, having protein with each meal, that's a pretty good start. Let's talk carbs. And when I say carbs, I just simply mean nature's carbs. So fruits and vegetables and grains and beans or legumes. Those healthy carbs were so needed in energy production and weight loss. But how does that work? What's the connection? So carbs have fiber. Nature's carbs. Carbs have what we call phytonutrients. There's a whole list of phytonutrients like quercetin, CoQ10, antioxidants, glutathione. Phytonutrients are so important in the whole metabolic process. And then also glucose. Our body uses sugar. Our bodies run on sugars. But is it the complex kind? Is it the kind of sugar that our bodies actually can break down and use? It doesn't create metabolic havoc. Because in nature's carbs, the fiber slows the absorption. It doesn't spike insulin. So getting good, healthy carbs. Now, part of the main real goal here is to get diversity. We want a bunch of different colors. Eating the rainbow is a great idea in getting the right kind of nature's carbs in, because you get a whole host of all of the different spectrum of phytonutrients, polyphenols, all of that helps our metabolism, helps our mitochondria create energy and burn the right fuel. And then fiber helps us eliminate, fiber helps us slow the absorption of sugars down, fiber helps us create good bacterias that are helpful in our microbiome balance for weight loss. Glucose, our brains run on sugar. We can also burn ketones, and we really want to get into ketone fat burning mode. But sometimes we need those carbs to keep that balance going in the right ratio in energy production. So getting the right carbs for you and that weight loss connection, there's 3 ways that carbs help us actually in weight loss. Number 1 is it does help in detoxification. Again, the detoxification process in weight loss is huge, and making sure we're getting the right fiber, right phytonutrient combination to really flush out and clean out our system so that we're not holding on to things just from the toxicity standpoint. And that's really huge. Carbohydrates play a really key role in that process. And then number 2, it really helps our mitochondria function and create energy. So we don't want to be burning glucose constantly and burning in a sugar burning mode all the time. But we do need to be creating a little bit of glycemic stores so that we have a little bit to pull from, and that we're not so glycemically deficient that our bodies don't have the energy that they need. You're not going to feel like exercise. You're not going to feel like moving. You're not going to feel like doing things. So definitely want to be in fat burning mode. So don't get confused. We definitely want to be more ketone burning than we do glucose burning, but glucose has a role in weight loss, and we want it to be a little slow and steady wave of managing blood sugar regulation instead of these spikes. And that complex carbohydrate really helps to do that. Slow absorption, really manageable. Anything that's refined grains, refined sugars, so cookies and cereals and cakes and bagels and muffins and, breads of all kinds, those convert to sugar super quickly and they lack the fiber. Even juicing. I love juicing for certain things, and certain fruits and vegetables are better for juicing than others, but you want to make sure you get the fiber. So we do a lot with superfood smoothies in our weight loss program, and because the smoothie keeps the fiber and the phytonutrients intact. And you also want to make sure when you're talking about carbohydrates and weight loss that you don't process them in juices and sauces and wraps, fruit wraps. You want to eat the whole food so you get all the nutrients intact and you get the fiber. It slows all of that conversion to glucose, so you're not staying in glucose sugar burning mode as long. If you juice, you want to do vegetables, like green vegetables, maybe with some green apple in there for a little bit of sweetener. But you don't want to be juicing a lot of high sugar, high glycemic. It converts to sugar quickly, like carrots or beets. They're super high glycemic. Very healthy. It's so much better to ferment or culture those. So cultured carrots, cultured beets, beet kvass. It slows absorption of sugar. It actually eats all the sugar, so your metabolics aren't impacted as much. So carbohydrates are huge in weight loss, and they help us if they are fermented or cultured, because they have the good bacteria and they still have the fiber and they have no sugar. They help us by having the fiber if we're eating whole carbohydrates to getting that detoxification going, and they help us create energy, and that energy helps us stay active, keeps our metabolism high. But we definitely don't want to, we want to be avoiding all the refined carbohydrates like cookies, cakes, and pies, and all of that stuff. We know that, but getting the good whole fruit in when we have a sugar craving could be key, and getting good variety of different colors could be key for especially fruits and vegetables, and eating as organic as we can gets all the other additives and junk that we won't want to store in our fat cells from eating non-organic fruits and vegetables. And grains are a whole other story. They need to be sprouted or soured or soaked. If you get sprouted grain, sprouted English muffins, sourdough breads, those are a whole lot easier to digest, and they convert to sugar a whole lot slower. And the beans and legumes depend on the person, but they're higher in starch, so a smaller amount of those, but they have great fiber, they have some amino acids in them. If you tolerate beans and legumes, make sure you're soaking them really well. Make sure you're breaking them down before you even use them in cooking. Make sure you're eating a small enough amount that your body can digest them well. So those are the types of carbs that will help in weight loss. And then fatty acids, if we are deficient in fats, then man, this then slows down our weight loss progress because of three main reasons. Here we go. Really, even it beats proteins in the satiation category. When you eat enough fat in your meal, you're going to feel full. If you don't feel full for more than 3, maybe close to 4 hours, you probably didn't eat enough fat in that meal. So satiation is a key component to weight loss and not having cravings for sugar and junk food because we're eating enough healthy fats. So satiation is number 1. Number 2, fats are the main ingredient in hormones. So if you feel like your weight loss is based on some hormone imbalance, start increasing your amount of natural fats that you're eating and make sure you're changing the quality of the fats you're eating. We'll talk about that in a second. So fats form hormones. So making sure that you're not hormone deficient, hormone imbalances, by eating enough fat, because hormones have a direct impact on weight loss. And then the third way fats and healthy fats help us lose weight is actually by taking all of the insulin resistance, creating a lot more blood sugar balance, a lot more energy management to the right food and fuel cycle. So burning ketones, which are the byproducts of fats being digested and broken down into fatty acids and short chain fatty acids, we want to be burning ketones for fuel instead of glucose and sugars. So having a really good higher fat, natural fat diet allows us to using fat and shifting that from insulin resistant and sugar burning mode, metabolic chaos, to more of a steady sugar management cycle and burning ketones for energy. So having enough fats in our diet are key for those 3 reasons. What kind of fats do we need? Well, we definitely don't want to be eating all of those clear containered oils you see on the grocery store shelf. So canola oil, corn oil, safflower oil, all those processed seed oils that are in clear containers, chuck them. Don't even use them up. Don't worry about wasting the money. Throw them away immediately. We don't want to be eating highly processed trans fats and oils that have been super high heated. Most restaurants use oils that are high heated fried foods like 450, 500 degrees or more. And it's really the high heating. Sometimes peanut oil is not that bad, but when you high heat it at 500 plus degrees, then the molecular structure changes and it's actually damaging to the body. So getting all the trans fats out, the partially hydrogenated oils, the clear containered oils, seed oils, those are all industrial commodity crop based oils that are super cheap, but they're horrible for our health. And we want to replace it with natural fats like butter and ghee, grass fed if you can, organic olive oil, organic avocado oil, coconut oil, sesame oil that's very, very minimally processed and super helpful, and we really need them when building hormones and when balancing our blood sugar. So fats are key for weight loss, getting the right amounts in and the right healthy amounts of. We help that with our clients specifically to know exactly how much fat to eat in a day. Ketogenic diets become super popular, realizing that fat does not make us fat. Knowing what fats to eat and how much, that's what we help our clients to do, customize a plan for them in our coaching program. Man, it's hard to sum up the vitamins and minerals, these 2 micronutrient categories, and how they impact weight loss because there's so many ways. Like a really quick example is vitamin D. Vitamin D actually acts just like a hormone. So it's kind of more of a hormone in some respects than it is a vitamin. And man, when someone increases their vitamin D, which is one of the main deficiency, vitamins there is in our culture today, they sleep better, they're less stressed, their immune system's working better. I mean, it just impacts all kinds of things that help someone lose weight a whole lot quicker and build energy better. So vitamin D is one of the main ones we work with clients. We see a lot of deficiency. We see a lot of deficiency in vitamin B, the whole complex, vitamin B6, vitamin B12. B12 is key for energy, how it regulates with iron, how it just uses in so many different functions. So it's hard to boil it down to 3 main ways that vitamins help us lose weight, but because vitamins help so many other processes in the body. So we have 2 kinds. We have the water soluble and the fat soluble. Water soluble vitamins are exactly that. They dissolve in water and they get flushed out of the body. So we use what we need and we get rid of the rest. So it's really hard to develop any reaction or over toxicity level of any of the water soluble vitamins, and those are vitamin C is water soluble, and all the B vitamins are water soluble. So B1, B2, B3, all of it, B6, B12, there's a host of B vitamins. And B vitamins also help us with stress management. So stress management, huge in weight loss. Sleep is huge in weight loss. So when we talk about vitamins, it's like, yes, they help in so many ways you can't even summarize. So those are the water soluble. And then the fat soluble you actually can store, and that's vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D, and vitamin K. Those are all the fat soluble. And so when you study nutrition, you learn you need both kinds, right? You also need the fat soluble factors, which are vitamin A, D, E, and K, from animal sources. That is research-based nutrition. Vitamin A, you have beta carotenes in plants, needs to be converted to the active form, actual vitamin A that's found in proteins like cold water fish and eggs. And vitamin D is found in mostly sunlight, absorbed through the skin is really the design for vitamin D, but you can also take vitamin D3 as a supplement. You can also eat foods higher in vitamin D, again, better from cold water fish or protein sources than plant sources. And then vitamin E the same way, and vitamin K. So the conversion of the fat soluble factors is better from the protein plant the animal sources versus the plant sources. Plants need to be converted or broken down and changed, and not everybody genetically can do all of that as easily. So vitamins are fat soluble or vitamins are water soluble. You need both kinds, and they help with all kinds of processes in the body. And we have a lab test, and we also have a NutriQ nutritional assessment test that can link certain symptoms people are dealing with to certain vitamin deficiencies. And we have a little bit more information on that in our part 3 video on this series of nutrient deficiencies and weight loss. So we'll get into it a little bit more. Then the last category is the micronutrient of minerals. Minerals are really cool to study because they have what we call a synergistic relationship or antagonistic. Some minerals work together, some minerals work against each other, and they are the spark plugs. They are what gets things started or gets things finished when we talk about metabolic processes in the body. And that's super important when we talk about detoxification. If you don't have enough molybdenum, is a really key mineral in detoxification. If you don't have enough magnesium, then you're going to be craving chocolate and sugar. There's so many links. Again, just like vitamins, minerals have such a key piece in weight loss because of all the functions they help make possible in the body. Chromium is a really key mineral for managing our blood sugar. And when our blood sugar and insulin are high, we're going to be storing fat. Insulin's our fat storage hormone. So minerals are key to weight loss, and by just the simple fact of creating electrolytes and hydration and keeping that detox going, and helping hormones do their job by opening the door to receptor sites like chromium opens the door to insulin. So, and then providing that helper and that cofactor and all of those pieces to help the other metabolic processes run smoothly, so our weight becomes more of an optimal, natural weight that we should be at. Minerals are huge for that. So vitamins and minerals have a lot of different helping functions when we talk about digestion, hormone balance, energy management, sugar management, detoxification. And so when we're deficient in any of those, then we see that process suffer. Again, weight loss is all about function. It's not about calories in, calories out. It's all about how the body uses food for fuel, and minerals play a key role in that. We'll see you in video 3.